Hey, what's up guys? Austin here from abbdrums.com, back with another episode of Study the Greats. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different because usually in these videos I try to play the concepts that I'm breaking down from these drummers, and usually I can pull it off enough to make these videos, but not this one. This is the first one where I straight up just can't play it at all. So let me talk about Virgil for a second. Since I've started this series, I've wanted to make a Study the Greats on him, but when I watch him play, I can barely understand anything that he does. And you guys know me, I'm down for a challenge. I study all the heavy hitters, Vinny, Weckl, Novak, Jojo, DeCenzo, all these guys. And they're all super advanced. They're the best drummers in the world. But for the most part, I can figure out what they're doing and recreate it a little bit. But with Virgil, I just can't do it. I don't know what it is. He's just in a different stratosphere, and I put him in a category all by himself. I mean, he's gone into conceptual environments that nobody else has even dared to think about, and the fact that he can physically execute all these concepts is a testament to what has to be just an unrelenting discipline and dedication to this instrument that not many people are willing to do. I mean, the dude is just, he's on a different level. So with that all being said, let's go to the computer, let's dig into this one and see what we can figure out. All right, first off, if you haven't seen this particular MI clinic from back in the day, you have to go watch it after this, because in the second half of it, he explains some of his concepts in detail, and it's probably the most insight I've found online so far about how he thinks about rhythm. It's very interesting. So definitely go watch this full clinic after this. But let me go ahead and play this little section we're going to break down where he goes into this repeating pattern on the left side and improvises over top of it on the right side. Here we go. Did you catch all that? Pretty easy, right? All right, let's go into Logic here to check out the transcription. The way I approached this was I split it up between the left side and the right side just to make it a little more clear what's going on. It's not just a bunch of notes all jumbled together. So this is what he's playing on the left side. It's that repeating pattern. And this is what he's doing on the right side over top of it. And if I want to, I can display them both together on a grand staff. The right side is on the top, left side is on the bottom, and that makes it a little bit easier to see how everything lines up throughout the entire transcription here. But let's isolate this left side and talk about that for a second. So what I think he's doing here is he's playing a 7-note grouping, and you can see here I have these little brackets to show you where the 7-note grouping is. And he would probably refer to this as a sevadiddle, because in this clinic later, when he's explaining some things, he talks about a similar concept using a grouping of 5, which he calls a fivadiddle, and this is just an extended version of that, so I'm going to go ahead and call this a sevadiddle. But the tricky thing about this 7-note grouping is he's playing it as 16th note triplets, which is kind of mind-boggling to keep track of. And you can see it here. We got a 7-note grouping over 16th note triplets, and that just continues over the bar line throughout this entire section, and it doesn't change and it doesn't stop. It's just that same pattern all the way through here. So let me go ahead and isolate this left side so you can see how that works with the video here. Let's go ahead and slow this down a little bit so you can see what's going on here. The orchestration he uses is foot, accent, foot, tap, tap, tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But again, that's over 16th note triplets, which makes it really difficult to keep track of. So here's what that sounds like to a click. Okay, now that we understand what the left side is doing, let's go ahead and tackle the right side here. So this is the right side. I'm just going to go ahead and play this back isolated to the video so you can see what's going on just on the right side. Here we go. Definitely gets pretty weird in there. All right, let's just go back to the top here. So he starts off by just playing eighth notes with the right hand on the auxiliary hat, and then he brings in the backbeat on 2 and 4 here, and he continues that through this section, but with the kick drum, he starts to fill in all the triplets underneath that. So like the second and the third triplets, he fills in with the kick. So here's what that sounds like again. Now, right here is when he shifts into this hand and foot combination where he plays 2 on the snare, 2 on the kick. So it's like a 2 and 2 hand and foot combination. But again, that's going over 16th note triplets. And that's a pretty advanced concept in and of itself. But to play that over top of this 7-note grouping on the left side is just, it's a lot. So here's what that section sounds like. So he just moves it up to the toms there. Now this next section, I don't really know how to explain. It's just a really weird accent structure between the floor tom and the snare drum, and he fills in all the space underneath with the kick. It's kind of hard to hear exactly what's going on, but I think it's pretty close to what it is. So here's what that section sounds like. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's amazing. It sounds great, but it is what it is. So here he goes back into this hand and foot combination, the 2 and 2. Okay, now here at the very end, he goes into a couple cool little concepts. So right here, he shifts into a paradiddle on the right side, split up between the right hand and the right foot. So you can see right here, this starts the paradiddle. So right hand, foot, right, foot, right, foot. And he does that a couple times there. So let me isolate that. So it goes by pretty quick, but he plays paradiddles right there, shifts back into some triplets, and then at the very end here, he goes into a 5-note grouping. So you can see here, you got tom, kick, kick, tom, kick, kick, right? So it's a 5-note grouping, and he just plays it like 3 times here, and then that's the end of this little section. So here's that 5-note grouping. Goes by pretty quick. So he throws a lot of concepts in there, and he just goes from one to the other, and that left side never changes. It's just super advanced. So let me combine all this back together on the grand staff here, and we'll just play this one more time all the way through so you can see how everything works together. Here we go. All right, guys, I hope this gives you a little more insight into how he thinks about rhythms and how he combines different concepts together. I think a lot of people don't realize how advanced he actually is because they just haven't dove deep enough into his playing. But I would venture to say that he's arguably the most advanced drummer of all time, just from a sheer physical/conceptual standpoint. If you agree or disagree, put it in the comments. We can start a conversation there. And if you're up for the challenge of learning this and you actually get to a point where you can physically execute it, definitely tag me on social. I'd love to see who can pull this off other than him. I actually tried this for 2 to 3 weeks. I was practicing pretty hardcore. And I got to the point where I could add in the right hand on the hi-hat and the backbeat on 2 and 4. But the second I tried to add in those kick drum triplets, it just fell apart on me. My brain just couldn't do it. If you can do it, definitely tag me. I'd love to see that. If you want to download the transcription, that's linked below. But other than that, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.